Moving on to our closing keynote of today, talking about authentic human-to-human marketing. It's Adam Lejeune-Cap. And Adam is an entrepreneur, he's a business professional, but he's also a CEO of Madak, a marketing agency delivering cohesive marketing strategies and websites that inspire growth. And over the past 20 years, he has blended strategy and design into one seamless experience for large companies and startup brands. And I had the pleasure to talk to him before his keynote today, and I'm very much looking forward to his keynote. There will be ample room for discussion afterwards. He will give a sort of a 20-minute keynote, and after that, I hope you will participate again by doing the lively interaction via the chat, and maybe we even get the chance to spotlight some of you to ask the questions in person via the screen. So, Adam, without further ado, thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me today. Just want to make sure you can hear me okay? Yeah,
very good.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks so much. And thanks for asking everybody to look at, turn their cameras on. I'm still looking at black, but I do see some faces. So thanks so much for having me. And it's morning for me here, but it sounds like at the end of the day for everybody over there. So what I'll do is I will share my screen and we can jump right into this. But like Eggy said, is when I was asked to speak, I really wanted to get into Q&A. So I prepared about 20 minutes of talking. I believe there's about 50. And so I would love to, obviously lay a bit of groundwork and talk about the 5 principles I have around authentic human-to-human marketing, but would love to hear some direct questions, get into a conversation, because that's where the real excitement is, right? We can dig in and maybe solve some problems or come up with some opinions. So let me share my screen here. I think you guys are all good with that. Okay, so jumping in, everybody on the call here likes marketing. That's why we're here. That's why we're spending some time here. And it's a big challenge in today's world with developing authentic marketing. So the challenge that we have with everything that's happening with AI and machine learning, I mean, it's all really exciting stuff, and we need to leverage that and make that a part of our marketing strategy, but we can't forget who we're marketing to. We can't forget the interactions that people are craving, when looking to interact with your brand or your personal brand or your product. So when we start to think through marketing, ideally there would be a beautiful silver bullet. We'd implement some marketing and it would just jump straight to profitability. But we all know that is definitely not true. And so when we think about what marketing does, marketing helps develop a brand. And once you start to develop that brand, you start to develop trust with your clients and your customers. Once you get that trust, you start to get those conversions. Conversions start to generate sales. Now you're in sales and you got some revenue. Ultimately, revenue will turn into profitability once you build a really strong, cohesive system. In the previous conversation, had some real tactical strategies there on how to activate with emails and direct campaigns and retargeting. So some great value there in that previous conversation. But my belief is that the best way to achieve better marketing is to truly be authentic, truly be yourself, truly develop a connection with the other people the best way you know how. So I've broken it down to 5 steps on what we do here at Madak and how I interact on my personal brand and how we develop different strategies for our clients at Madak. And Eggy, is that all right? Eggy, is like, can I use the American slang for your name? Because I cannot pronounce. Tell me how you pronounce your first name.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So
yeah, I can hear you.
The right Dutch pronunciation is Egge.
Okay, and then in the U.S. we would say Eggy. If that's okay with you.
That's okay.
Okay. Do we have anybody from North America on this call? Would that be a fair question to ask, or is it primarily Europe, Asia, etc.?
We asked where the people are from at the start of the session. Well, you were still sleeping your final hours of sleep, and
Yep.
there were actually some East Coast people. I know you're on the West Coast, so I
Yep.
see we saw some people on the East Coast, and we see some people responding now in the chat with New York City and also, well,
Oh,
originally
great.
Canada but sitting in the office here. So all hail from NYC. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, thanks for joining. I appreciate everybody jumping in. And again, I want to have a little bit of interaction with Eggy and the other people on the call. So we'll get through this and let's definitely take some questions and start to answer specific challenges. But when I think about the 5 principles of authentic human-to-human marketing, the first one is empathy, right? You have to have empathy on where your customers are pain points are, the empathy that customers are being attracted by many different brands, and so you have to have that whereabouts and on how you're going to interact with people and the best way to get there. The second one is intuition. I'm a big believer in trusting your gut and trusting your intuition. If you've got some experience out there and you've been through it before, trust that, follow that path and allow it to make the ability to drive and make decisions within marketing. But don't be silly. You got to back that up with data. You got to make sure that you've got data that you can look at your marketing campaigns. You've got everything set up. Do the basics right, and then you can start to get into some of the other fancy stuff that'll allow you to really engage with your customer. Being genuine. That falls along the line with empathy, but being genuine, being real and who you are, and don't hide behind different strategies. The old methodology of you can get quality, speed, or price really is true. What you got to pick 2, right? So which one is it? And if you think it through, and neither one is right or wrong, but there's different ways to build it. And if you're looking for long-term sustainable growth, developing authentic marketing is a good strategy to go. And then finally, personalization. We've got so much ability within technology these days to really personalize the customer journey with people through email, through social, through interactions with your website. There's so many different ways to connect with people with personalization. So what I've done is within these 5 points, I've got 3 each one that we can break through. And then I'll tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit of human-to-human marketing, if you will, about me to give you a little bit more insight. And then we can run into some Q&As. So empathy. So it's understanding your customers' pain points. What is it that they need from your product or your client? So my agency is the B2B marketing agency. So we're constantly working with clients that are either selling services or have high ticket items that they're needing to challenge. So it's a longer sales cycle. So they need to really hone in on the pain points and really make sure that they start to build that trust and that awareness with their customers. Acknowledging and responding to customer feedback. I mean, this is huge, right? This is directly telling you what is working or not working. And so obviously you got simple things from a comment or a review on Google My Business all the way down to really robust client testimonials and interviews that you might do at the end of a client engagement. At the end of a client engagement here at Matic, we do a full hour-long debrief from somebody else at the company that never worked on it, and to get a true reaction from the customer or the client on their way out the door. Obviously, hopefully looking for good things, but if there's negative things, you want to be able to identify those and then fix those for the next experience. And this falls in line with the theme of the whole conference, but the developing a customer-centric mindset, right? So we're developing services or products for people to purchase. So you got to really get into the mindset of them and really think through. And so having all this empathy and understanding that it's not necessarily about you, it's about them, is really a key place to focus. So intuition, anticipating customers' needs. I'm a big believer in this, like I said, and really it just comes down to experience and seeing something in action prior to. Trust your gut, trust your ability to feel like something is right and follow through with that. But take calculated, approaches to things, right? So you gotta have to do creative problem solving, but you want to make sure that it makes sense. It's been vetted. That's why, collaborating with teams or outside consultants is important, because there's a lot of opportunity for things that maybe you're not quite seeing in the exact problem. And then trust your experience and follow it, right? Which is what I was just talking about, right? Is I've been doing this now for 20 years, and I've worked with a wide variety of companies, and it just feels like I've seen a lot of things that have played out, and you want to continue to follow that and trust that. So that's a big part of it. But with today's world, we've got so much technology and data at our hands, and you want to really make sure that you're capturing that and leveraging it to make your decisions. Don't be caught up in an emotional decision that it's going to be the best thing ever. If the data is showing you differently, listen to it. You got to make sure that you're following the data. And then personalizing the customer experience is massive. The more you can niche down within your database is going to help you. And I've always struggled with this, right? I've always wanted to. I have a wide variety of interests and things that I want to challenge or solve for people. And so, but all the mentors and the successful people continue to tell me to niche down. The people that are looking for your customer or your client, your services, they will find you. If you niche down and you're specific. And then the last one is understand, and definitely got to comply with data regulations these days, right? So you got to make sure that you are following protocol. I had a client the other day just talk about purchasing emails, and I said, no, we don't do that anymore. It doesn't exist. You got to build your email database. You got to build your following. That's the best way to do it, and that's through excuse me, through putting together a bunch of different strategies, which are, the previous president. Okay, the fourth one, being genuine. So being transparent and honest and real in communication, and really becoming someone that people want to interact with. However you can do that, these are really good strategies to build a connection with people. And then building an authentic brand identity, right? So really identifying and being, it just really comes down to being human. The irony of it all is like, be human, be connected, be available to connect with people. And then when you develop your brand promises and you develop your methodology, deliver on those. Consistently deliver on those. And consistency is definitely a key part about all of this. And then the last one is understand and segment down to various customer groups. So I'm just checking my time. How am I doing on time? I just want to make sure, am I going too fast, too slow?
I think you're doing. I think you're doing fine. It take a few more minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then we'll jump into the discussion.
Yeah, I've got about 5 more minutes, and I'll wrap up everything we just talked about, because I didn't want to buzz through it too fast, but I understand that we also have an agenda here. So the personalization and understanding the different segment groups is really important. So we use HubSpot as our CRM, and so we've got a really robust way of tracking and tagging people. It's a pricer CRM, but it is a very valuable, and I struggled with it transitioning to that at first. But once I got into it, I understood the value. So I highly recommend that as well. Use data, again, data, personalization, communication, so develop the messaging, but then continue to refine it. It feels like it's like an endless loop of marketing, right? You're constantly looking at the data, you're reworking your messaging, you're getting feedback, you're getting better, you're improving the creative. It just is this constant loop. And then, it goes back to the first one, which is, where focus on your customer needs and so forth. So if we look at all of these together, the empathy, the intuition, the data, the genuine, the personalization, really developing authentic human to human marketing is where I was focused here. But all this is great. And it's all kind of nice to say, but there's a couple of things that are key here. You got to be talented, you got to be consistent, you got to be patient, and you got to be creative. These are variables in the success of your campaigns. And there's a lot of different tactic stuff. Obviously, I'm talking a little bit more strategic here, but a lot of this allows you, if you follow these principles and you really focus on consistent, being yourself, being patient, etc., which I struggle with the patient thing, is all about pushing your marketing to the next level as far as developing a human to human authentic brand. So to give you a little bit more insight and to wrap it up, I think I got 3 more slides, is to give you a little bit more insight to me as I was thinking about this presentation and communicating to 160 people, which is always nerve-wracking. But so I launched Matic in 2016 at 38 years old. I mean, I worked for other people for 17, 18 years old before I felt I had the confidence, the experience, the ability to take that leap of faith and start my own agency. And everybody has their own journey and everybody has their own path. And I needed that experience to learn from other leaders and business owners to be able to have the confidence. And I take all of those experiences into my company. I have tons of empathy for people, but I expect results. And you can ask my team that I'm a huge part of. I try to be empathetic in every case scenario we can, but results are at the end of the day what need to happen. UI UX is very important to me in all scenarios. We do a lot of websites, so that's a big part of that. So that's very important. That's a key thing. I'm a huge procrastinator. And I think the team behind this meeting know that, because they were asking me for this presentation for a couple of weeks, and I was able to pull it back together. But I was constantly thinking about it. I was thinking about it for over a month, and so it was just kind of pulling it together. And a little fun fact is I played rugby for over 20 years. It's a part of my business. It's a part of my life. I enjoy it, and excited for the Rugby World Cup in France that I will not be at. This is my family. We have 3 boys. My wife Tessina, she's originally from Frankfurt, and this was last summer. A little picture, a little bit of more insight to who I am and what's most important to me. And these are my websites. Matic.com is the agency, and then I've got AdamLejeunecop.com is my personal website. And that's the last slide, and my email is down here as well. So would love to hear from anybody directly. We also have a Matic Monday email list and so forth, but would love to connect with everybody. But let's jump into it and see if there's anybody that wants to jump in now and talk through it.
Thank you so much, Adam, for sharing your insights. So big applause around the world for you. especially since the fact that it's early in the morning for you. You gave a great presentation. Thanks for that. It's well 6:30 your time. You started more or less.
Yep.
So, well, I'm very intrigued by what you presented. I will wait for some questions to come in. But first of all, from my side, you mentioned well the let's say the old struggle between the quality, the speed, and the price. So pick two of them, and then you sort of gave me the impression that you would yourself would pick quality and price over speed. You also said be patient. You're struggling yourself with that. So how does that? How can we see that in your day-to-day business or within companies? The struggle to be patient and be genuine for the long-term results.
Yeah, I definitely, as a business owner, I'm, as I think about our marketing and what we're doing, it's yeah, we want quick results and we want impact. But then I think through what we are constantly telling our clients, and that's to put together a proper strategy, build out for the long term, be patient, all these things. So these are constant reminders that I need to do when building out our marketing and so forth. So yeah, I mean, ultimately at the end of it, building out quality and building out something that's long lasting is going to be the most important. But you have to balance that with the desire of quick results. So the way I try to combat that, or what are some kind of low hanging fruit wins that you can get over the line, whether that's for yourself or for your clients, and really try to gain the trust of yourself and the client and the marketing that you're doing, and with keeping in mind the longer term benefits of putting together, like something like a podcast might not be a direct result today, but then 50 episodes in, which I'm shooting my 50th episode this week, and this is 2 years in the making, but these are longer term strategies versus paid ads or other kind of quick hit. So yeah, it's definitely a balance.
So, quick question from Del Spafford. Who are you supporting in the Rugby World Cup? Talking about authenticity.
Well, the US unfortunately didn't even qualify, so we've got some work to do over here. But I hate to be the cliche, but I'm a huge All Blacks fan just because of the quality of play that they have and just and the impact that they played. But I'm also gonna hope that France can do well in their home tournament. So I'm going to answer this with three. So I'm going to say Ireland, because Ireland's just been playing really well, France, and New Zealand.
Okay, so spreading your chances there. Okay,
Yeah.
smart guy. Another question here coming in from Joke Menger. Could you give an example of a company that applies this in a good manner?
For which part?
I think the overall, let's say, authentic human-to-human marketing. So the 5 aspects you mentioned, and also the 4 talents you need to get there.
Yeah, so I'll speak directly about one of our clients. One of our clients is a air ventilation verification company. So they work with big buildings to help qualify their air on because of everything that's happened with COVID and so forth. So they have a very tactical, non-human product that needs to be sold to these business building owners, landlords, etc. So the challenge that we've helped them solve is to get out in front of people and to communicate to the benefits of, the challenges they have are getting people to come back into the office and allow, feeling the trust that they should take all their time and effort away from home to come down and sit in the office space and feel safe. And so what they've been doing through email marketing, digital ads, conferences, print, is just developing this connection between people and collaboration inside the office space, and how that's going to benefit the overall productivity of a company. So that's been a big part of how we've taken the human to human kind of marketing and applied it to literally a spray bottle and a machine, but we're not selling the spray bottle and machine. We're selling the after fact and what's going to result of when you come in and you apply this technology to your building.
Great, thanks for answering that one. There's another question from Imogen Ketling. Again, sorry if I pronounce it wrongly. Some of what we're marketing is AI/text and data solutions. How do we market a product that is quote unquote faceless in a human way?
I think that, yeah, that's always a challenge, and the AI world is becoming, so fast and so dynamic really quickly. But I think I go back to that result or that example I just gave. Like, don't market the product, market the result, right? What are they going to achieve at the end of it? And maybe with AI, it's more time or speed or the less staff, whatever it might be that you're helping, educate them on. And if I, relay it back to Matic and why do they want to hire an outside agency to help them with their marketing? We want to alleviate their time so we can give them speed. We want to allow them to focus in on what they do well in their business, and ultimately we're helping them save money in the long run. So if you continue to focus in on what problem you're solving and what the end result will be, maybe 3 months, 6 months after they applied your service or your SaaS product, then that will help. Because we as entrepreneurs and business owners and marketers are constantly focusing on what it is, because we're so focused on building it and applying it. So what versus what am I going to what am I going to receive at the end of an experience with it?
Yeah. So do I understand it correctly then that you say, okay, we are all in the business of creating transactions, but it's the relation that then makes that you can actually have transactions with each other?
Yeah, and I think with that AI example you just mentioned, right? So let's say it's software or it's some sort of application. That's great. You've essentially solved the what problem for them, and they don't need to worry about it. They don't need to build it. They just need to pay you for it. Yeah. So then what are they going to get, right? So what are they going to receive in the short or long term when they implement this product?
So in the meantime, Helen Burnbank, she started a challenge with her colleagues to name the most human brand you know. And it's also a question to you then, Adam, but you're not allowed to mention your own company.
Of course. I don't think we're the most. And so she's challenged her colleagues right now in the.
Yeah, I think it's happening in the chat, but my colleagues are diving into that. But first, then the question to you: in your mind, what is the most human brand?
The most human brand. The first one that comes to mind is a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, and for those that are in New York City will understand. This guy has built a authentic, real human company. His personal brand is a company on top of the other companies that he's invested in, and so what he's done is he's created a following by being real, by being authentic, and what he says is does the unscalable, was replying to comments and communicating with people and making himself available. So that's the first example. I know it's a little bit of a cheat to your question because I picked a personal brand, not an actual company. But another one that I'll pick is Alaska Airlines, who is out here in Seattle. Their hub is here, and they are literally the nicest people when you call them. You call them, you give them the challenge, and they actually want to help you out. And I was with one of the executives over the weekend, and I was telling them about my experience about whoever it was on the call, and it was just, she actually cared. And he was telling me how much they empower their front lines and they give them the ability to make decisions by empowering them at the front line. Because if they, like, for example, I think they have up to 25,000 miles that they can give away for any particular situation if a customer is not happy. So if you gave me 20,000 miles and not happy, and then the problem got solved right there, versus it going 10 more phone calls or 10 more complaints later, and now you just consumed more people. It's those types of things. And I'll do one more example with Alaska Airlines. When I fly them, I tag them on Instagram, they actually reply and they say, hey, thank you, have a safe flight. Is it AI? Maybe. But I challenged it one time and I said, please respond. I gave them a math problem if this is AI, and then they responded. I'm sure that AI can do that too. Maybe someone that asks a question can do that, or tell me if that worked. But they consistently do it. So those are some examples of human-to-human brands.
Yeah. So I don't know which the response is coming in on the chat, but I know from if the question would be asked to me, I would say in Dutch, we have the e-commerce shop Coolblue. They do also very authentic human-to-human interaction with a lot of also humor involved. So if you tag them, they reply, and sometimes it makes you smile. Well, most of the times it makes you smile. So they're very good in that as well. So there's a question from Lucy Frisch. And maybe you answered it a little bit with some more with your examples just now, but what have been some of the most impactful ways you've shown / communicated the progress of your more long game marketing strategies?
Some of the way, can you repeat that? So some of the ways that we marketed what part at the end?
So where have you seen the most, let's say, the most impactful progress of long game marketing strategies? So maybe some examples from companies that really do this long game marketing strategy.
Oh, long game. Okay. Yeah. So, and long game's always hard, right? Because it's costly now with the benefit down the line, right? And so it's that belief that it's the right strategy. And it's always hard, especially myself. I'm thinking about new ideas, and you want to kind of trust the long-term thing. But if you're going to develop a long-term strategy, keep it simple, right? So keep it really simple with how you communicate what it is. And the more complex it is, the harder it's going to take for someone to onboard it, and the longer it's going to take to implement it. So for one way to do it could be, and what we did here is the Matic Monday email. So we applied the Matic Monday email that comes out, and it's definitely taken a whole bunch of iterations throughout the years, but it's been a consistent thing that we've done over and over and over again. And it allows people to resonate with us. And so that's like one thing where we're trying to give value every Monday or every other Monday now. And in exchange for just your email address, right? So there could definitely be some longer term strategies with email marketing, podcasts. Social is definitely a long-term strategy, right? Like, I mean, how tired do people get posting every single day and then trying to think like, okay, somewhere along the lines, I'm going to get a lead, or I'm going to get somebody to. But the thing is that a lot of people are seeing that content on social, and then they're maybe going and visit your website, and then they email, and then they don't say to you, oh, by the way, I saw this post on this day. And then they're getting to know you, they're getting to earn your trust. And then, or you're getting to know that, earn their trust, and then you're coming around to connecting with you when the time is right. So those are some ideas on how to leverage some long-term strategies.
Thanks for sharing. You mentioned trust, and of course, trust is built by showing what you have accomplished, but sometimes trust is also built by showing how you failed, how you've learned from your mistakes. And you mentioned you do the thorough debrief with your customers. Can you share some of the, let's say, brilliant failures of yourself from the past? lessons learned from your customers?
Oh yeah, and we just learned one yesterday where we're 6 months engaged with a client, and we offered services 6 months ago that we don't offer today because we're not necessarily good at it. And the client's like, well, what about this? And so he was kind of like, well, let me be real with you. So instead of kind of hiding behind it and just trying to pull it off, we said, you know what, we can't do that, but we will do this in exchange. Is that a good kind of offset? And we are continuing to work with them to build out different strategies, even if we're not the ones doing it, like giving them the ideas and the ability to execute.
Yeah.
But there's and you had mentioned the sharing the successes, but also sharing the failures, and that's always really hard, right? Like it's definitely hard to say that, but being vulnerable, right, is a big part of connecting with people, and that's why I wanted to show that picture of my family and talk about some of the things that were not directly to this presentation, because I wanted you to know a little bit more. So that question that got connected about the Rugby World Cup was great, right? And I didn't quite give a direct answer to that, but these types of things are what create a little bit more connection, a little bit more trust, a little bit more, hey, maybe there's something there that I'd like to explore.
Yeah. Well, I can totally relate to having 3 younger boys at home.
Right, that's
Good
right.
luck
You
with
got
that.
yeah, we're both right in the thick of it, which is exciting.
So there's one comment from Saskia Hoving, not really a question, but she says, thanks, Adam. This confirms what we are seeing with our marketing activities. We see that when we provide more transparency or quote unquote a peek behind the curtain, it always works well and is much appreciated. As an example, we doubled our registrations for a nature portfolio webinar for the B2B community this year.
Oh, that's great.
This
Congratulations.
alludes to your point taken. You also mentioned in your slides the talent. So you had the 5 key points, the 5 steps, so to say, but also talent, consistency, creativity, and patience. What are the talents you're looking for in people when you hire them?
Well, I think that topic was more about the outside variable. You can do all the things right, but is your content engaging? Is your product quality? Do people care? Right? I mean, it's a brutal world out there, and people are being pulled in 7 different directions at all times. And so you need to be able to connect with people. And that's why they tell you to niche down, right? And really do a good job in one area so that those that follow you or those that want to connect will find you. But yeah, I mean, the talent thing or the creative, the written word, all of that really kind of is an outside variable to success on getting connected with the right customers and earning their trust and eventually their money.
And is the niche down, is there sometimes a tension between the niche down and diving into further into detail what your, let's say, strong points are? Is there a tension between that strategy and also being, let's say, a portfolio company having different brands or offerings out there?
Yeah, and that's always so what I've learned in the niche down is become known for something really well. So like the leading thing that we are known for is our websites. So our Webflow, and now specifically Webflow websites. So we went from websites, which are, tons in the world, right? Millions upon millions of websites in the world, to now Webflow websites, which is even a smaller segment, right? And so really focusing in on websites, and then we've got bolt-on products as well. Once they're in the door with websites, then we can add on other things, but really focusing in on a strategic approach to your website, and then we can add on others. But it's a big challenge, right? And there's a mentor of mine who said, focus on one thing until you reach $1 million in sales, and then once you do that, then you can expand from there. And that's if you do that one thing really well, then you can start to bolt on, and bolt on.
Yeah. And it's what inspired me also in your story is that you kind of convey the message that to be more human to human, technology can actually help there. Technology does not need to take away the human and human factor.
Oh, definitely not. You know, the Matic is now a remote company. And because of COVID, I used to have everybody in this building that we're in right now. And now we have 10 people throughout the US and Canada. And I feel more connected to them now because of the culture and the strategies and the things that we put in place to that. And I feel like they have a lot more freedom and a lot more ability to do what they need to do. And everybody's a phone call away or a video chat away when you need them. So don't let technology slow you down, because obviously technology doesn't care. It's coming and it's here, and it's going to tear through everything, just like AI has done in the last year. It's just changed everything. So you have to adapt to it, but don't lose. We're not robots. We're not looking to sell the robots, at least not yet. So continue to remember who we're connecting with on the other side of that screen.
Okay, well, thanks for connecting to us today, Adam. I really want to thank you again for your presentation and the interaction. No more questions coming in at this point. So thanks again. Big applause for you, and a digital webinar, but really meant, heartfelt. And have a great rest of your day, Adam.
Thank you so much. Appreciate everybody's time, and I look forward to watching more of this conference tomorrow.
Thanks.
All right.